Hey guys, what's up? Today in the Brick Lab, we're going to be upgrading this monstrosity here and making it at least halfway decent. So as always, before we get started, if you want to help support the Brick Lab for future videos like this, feel free to buy this set using the affiliate link in the description below. You don't pay anything extra, but Amazon will give me a small commission, which will help support future videos like this. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go ahead and fix this thing up, because this thing is in desperate need of attention. So first up, I'm going to remove Kai and his saddle here, not because they're terrible, but because I want to get them out of the way so I can work on some of these changes here. So first things first, let's work on the head here. Obviously, it has a very limited range of motion. It can only move up or down and barely from side to side at all. So let's go ahead and pull that apart. You know, the beautiful thing about this dragon is that it's actually modular. So if we rip off this back section here, we're just gonna set that aside for now so that we can focus on the front. And I'm going to take this Super Mario rounded platform here and just pull that off. Of course, we will need a literal handful of parts in order to be able to fix this dragon up, so I'll put a full part list in the description. So yeah, in the meantime, you know, feel free to download that and we'll get started. So first we're going to start with this assembly here, which is just an inverted slope and some mixel ball joint pieces here. We're going to put some plates attached to that, and then just put it in the spot where the neck piece used to be. And then from there, you can actually just reattach the neck, and we're done with the center body segment. Don't worry, we'll get to the legs in just a little bit. Speaking of which, we're actually going to start by taking one of those apart, because I will need this piece here. So let's rip that apart. As for the feet pieces, you can actually just discard all of the brown pieces, because I'm not going to be using them, and I'm most likely going to be replacing them with red ones. So from there, we're going to take this and actually use that as part of the neck. We'll just plug that in here. Take one of these red slope pieces, put that here, and then find another one of these inverted slope pieces, attach that, and then on the head, we're going to start by detaching these clips. And once that's done, we can rip off this Technic piece here, and we're actually going to be keeping this red slope because we'll be using it later. The rest of it, not so much. And then we're going to attach the head like so. Then from there, I would recommend using some dark gray or whatever preferred color you have for these battle droid arms. And plug them into place, flip them down, and then just reattach the lower jaw. After, of course, you get rid of these dark gray pieces, which we also won't be needing, so you can save them for other builds or something. They're actually kind of neat, to be honest. They just don't work very well for dragon jaws. So then we'll plug the dragon's jaw into place. And there we go. That looks much better already, and plus the dragon has a lot more movement in the neck and the head. Now for the legs, I'm going to put in an orange plate here, then take a couple of these bracket pieces with some red teeth pieces and put them into place. Obviously, I would prefer using some red inverted brackets. Unfortunately, I don't have any now, so I'm going to just use dark gray, even though it looks terrible. Then we're going to make this assembly here, which is more of these inverted slope pieces, and then another mixel ball and socket joint. Again, these pieces should be red preferably, but I don't have any, so we're going to use gray. And one more bracket and tooth, and there we go. That looks good for the bottom. Then we're going to take one of these red slopes and put that into place. And from there, we can just rebuild the foot. So I'll use a red piece, another red piece, and a final red piece. And then just put the toenails back on, and there we go. That actually doesn't look too bad, but I'm actually going to remove the gold here as well, because that, for some reason, just looks out of place and it's bothering me. So I'm going to swap it out for one of the red pieces, which was actually used with Kai's mech from the newest Ninja Dojo temple thingy. And, you know, on second thought, I'm going to take all of the gold ingots in the set and put them on the front and back of this piece. So we actually have some in the back legs as well. I'll just take that off and put it on the front like this. I honestly think that looks a whole lot better. So let's flip around to the other side here and do the same thing. We'll rip off that golden piece. And get rid of the brown pieces here. I honestly don't know what LEGO was thinking when they did this. I mean, this is a fire dragon, not a mud dragon, but, you know, whatever. Alright, so we have the foot rebuilt all in red this time, and again, we're going to attach one of these ball plates with some of these inverted slopes, plug them into place. Don't forget that orange plate here, and then use one of these red slopes to make sure that it stays in place. And again, most important of all, is to use these inverted bracket pieces with the teeth, because they really add a lot of thickness to the leg here, and it kind of keeps it from looking as spindly as it used to. And then again, we're just going to use one of these red pieces from Kai's mech, and steal another ingot piece from the back legs. And there we go, much better. The front of Kai's dragon is done. Now let's get to work on the back. So for the back, again, first things first, let's get rid of the feet and replace them with red pieces. And then what I'm going to do is rip off this brown tile here, and then again just replace it with one of these red slopes. And what I'm going to do is lift off the little golden hat here, and actually slip one of these red slopes into place right here. It just kind of removes that extra little gap that's between the leg here, and I think it helps fill out the design just a little bit more. So there's that. That back leg looks good. Let's flip it around and do the same thing on the other side here. So let's replace the foot, and then take off this brown plate, replace it with a red one, lift off the golden hat here, and then stick in another one of these slopes. Of course, this, I guess, is strictly optional, so if you don't have any, I won't worry about it. It's honestly not going to make a huge difference. I just think it helps tidy up the design a tiny bit, so that's why I do that. Anyway, yeah, let's put that in, put the hat on. And now for the tail here. Let's see. I don't really like the fact that there's this giant slope just basically sticking here out of nowhere, so I'm going to rip that off. Optionally, if you want, you could replace this red plate with an orange one, just because that matches the underside of Kai's dragon a little bit better. If you don't have an orange plate, don't worry about it, but I am, just because I think it'll look good. So now, unfortunately, I don't have another one of these pieces in red, so I'm just going to leave it gold. But what I am going to do is plug in about 4 of these red tooth pieces just to help make it flow with the rest of the dragon's color scheme. Not the most perfect fit, and honestly I'd prefer using more of the ingots in red here, but I don't think they exist in that color, so for now this is the solution that I'm going to stick with. And then one more thing I would like to do is actually disconnect the tail here and then add in another segment. So I'm just going to take one of these plates here, put that in, use this orange plate here, and then this piece that we had from earlier, just stick that on and plug it in. And that's just one extra segment to the tail, but it makes it look just a whole lot better. Alright, now that we have that, we can plug the two halves of the dragon in together. If you don't want the dragon to look just so flat underneath, what you can do is take this orange slope from earlier, and I would say maybe plug it in right about here, and then if you have another orange slope, I only have a red one, so that's what I'm going to use, but if you have an orange one, I'd recommend also plugging that in there. And then yeah, I think it'll just give the dragon a little depth and bulk and whatnot. Things that basically any dragon should need. And then from there we can reattach Kai and his saddle. And that leaves just the wings, which is honestly the part I'm dreading the most. But let's take a look and see what we can do. So if we plug the wings in like they were previously, it doesn't look terrible, to be honest. One thing that I really don't like is this random gap here. It just feels really lazy on Lego's part, so I'm gonna try to fix that. Now, the first idea that I had was to take some of these Technic connector pieces. I would recommend using red ones, but unfortunately I only have gray right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna take those and put them here like this. Now, it's not perfect, there is still this gap here, but I think it makes the shape of the wings look a whole lot better. And then from there we just need some of these little Technic axle pieces. We can plug that in, and then plug the tooth piece on the wing back into place. So yeah, here's my basic fix for Kai's dragon. It's not the most perfect. I'm sure if you used a lot more parts, you could definitely come up with something a lot more complicated. Yeah, so that's basically it. Hopefully you guys liked this video. Hopefully you guys were able to follow along. If you did, you already know what to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that other good stuff, and we'll see you next time.